Hi, I'm Karlene, immigration attorney, and today we're going to talk about how much does it cost to get an E-2 visa. By the end of this video, you will be able to determine if this visa is the right one for you. Is this visa an affordable visa? Is this visa the right one for you? Can I have a partner when I apply for the E-2 visa? I'm going to answer these questions for you. So one of the things that people always ask me is, in order to get an E-2 visa, do I need to be the sole owner of the company, or can I have a partner? Well, the most important thing to remember is, if you're going to have a partner, you need to be a 50% owner in the company. Not 49, 50% owner. So you can invest in an existing business and you can become a 50% owner in that business. Or if you purchase a new company with someone else, that person needs to be 50%, you need to be 50%. If that person is a citizen, that's fine. If that person is a foreign national like yourself, it doesn't matter. That person has to have 50% and you have to have 50%. Now, a lot of times people ask me, well, how do I structure the business? It's very important that the business has a name. So it shouldn't be your personal name, it should have a company name. You need to have a company and you need to register that company with the Department of Labor. And you need an EIN number, a federal tax ID number. That's important because many people say to me, well, what if I just start selling telephones? Is that a company? No, it's only a company when it's registered with the Department of Labor. Very important. Now, the other thing that you have to remember is that once you have the company registered, once you have a physical company, now let's talk about what's a physical company. You cannot work from your own home. An E-2 visa, you must have a location, a physical location, a physical address. You must have a lease, or if you purchased a building to operate your company, you need to show all of that to the USCIS. And some people will say, well, I don't need a company. I can work out of my basement. I can work from my home. It doesn't work. The E-2 visa, with the E-2 visa, you cannot work from home. I had this client who did an online business. Actually, he's doing an online business with Amazon. He's doing very, very well, great in sales, making a lot of money, and he doesn't need his physical location. Well, you know what? He has to for the E-2 visa. So what we did was we had him rent a warehouse and keep his products there. And there are times when he didn't have products because everything is shipped now, but he had to put products there. And then he opened a little office inside the warehouse in order for this to work. Because remember, with the E-2 visa, you must have a physical location. So what are the steps to apply for an E-2 visa? Well, if you're in the United States, you need to complete an application and you need to show the USCIS, again, your bank account. You need to show a lease of your company. You need to show the articles of incorporation. And you need to show, of course, again, where you got the money, how you came up with the money to purchase the business. You also need to do a business plan. Now, people will say, well, I don't need to do a business plan. I know my business, so I don't need to. Yes, you need to do a business plan. It's very important that you show the USCIS what your projections are and how you plan to grow the company. There are people who say, well, I'm just going to use social media. Well, show immigration which social media you're going to use. Show immigration your website. It's always good to have a website, even if your business is just Facebook-based or Instagram-based. It's always good to have a website, and show immigration all the links to your social media and your advertising. It's also good to get business cards. And nowadays people say, well, we don't need business cards. Well, you should get business cards and you should get a letterhead, old-fashioned way. Showing all of this to immigration makes the business look more legitimate. Again, the question comes about, well, what kind of business should I buy? Well, you can buy just about any business that's legitimate in the United States. You can start your own business or you can invest in the business of another person. And the second thing, too, that you need to remember is, how many workers do I need in my company in order to have a viable business? Well, for the E-2 visa, you can have 2, 3, 4, 5 employees. Remember, that's different from the EB-5. when you're applying for your permanent residence, you need 10 employees. But with the E-2 visa, you can have three people, 2 people. Well, some people would say, well, I don't need an employee. My business does, everything is just online and with a computer. You need to get employees. You need to have employees. And it's always good to have employees on payroll. In other words, you're paying them with a W-2 form or a 1099, preferably a W-2 form. But it's important that you have employees and that you pay them. Remember that your employees need to be legitimate and legal in the United States. And then some people will say, well, I can have employees overseas. Why do I need to pay for an employee in the United States? Well, you're doing a business in the United States. You should have employees in the United States in order for the business to be legitimate and in order for you to get the E-2 visa. Now, the first time that you get the E-2 visa, sometimes people say, well, you know what, I'm going to set everything up for the E-2 visa, and then once I get the E-2 visa, I'm going to get rid of the employees, and I'm going to get rid of the lease, and I'm going to get rid of the rental. No. In order to renew your visa, you need to have all these things in place. Again, you need to show immigration again. The second time around when you're renewing, you need to show immigration, I have employees in place, I have a bank account in place, I still have my lease, I still have a company. Now, I had this one client who did just that. He had a company, he had a lease, and then he realized, well, I don't really need an office space and I don't really need a lease, so he moved everything in his house. And when he went to, and he was doing very well because he had an online business. But then when he went to renew the E-2 visa, immigration checked and figured out that the business no longer existed and that he was operating from his home. So remember, it's not just for the first time that you apply. As you continue to apply for your visa and renew the visa, you need to have everything in place. You need to have the business in place, you need to have your bank account in place, you need to have your employees in place. Don't think that you just need to do it for the first time. You need to do it all the time. And whether you apply for your visa within the United States or you apply for your visa with the embassy, everything needs to be in place. And immigration can check here and the embassy can also check. So remember, if you have more questions on the E-2 visa, follow us. If you're interested in this topic, we have more videos to help you. Look at the link on the screen or the information below and follow us. I'm Karlene, immigration attorney with 35 years experience. I'm here to help you navigate this complicated immigration law.